Okay, so can you guys see me?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so my name is Camila, for those of you that do not know me. And I wanted to start off by asking, does anybody know what foam rolling is? If anybody can unmute and just say what it is. Foam rolling, yeah. Foam rolling or self-facial, yoga tuna balls. Somebody? Can somebody unmute and tell me what it is, what you guys think it is?
It's used for stretching, and it's in different parts of your body, I guess.
True. Okay, so probably for the best, Zan. Oh, awesome. Okay, perfect. So that's what we're going to talk about today. I wanted to do something a little bit different and something that I think is going to be very beneficial, since all of us are very interested into like either going to either remote beta or immersive. Definitely, like it does take a toll on our bodies, and I want to just go a little bit in depth about what it is and why I love it. So think of it as it's a massage, and our bodies with time, with repetitive movement, and it gets used to that. Like, so if we spend a lot of time on a computer and we're on a chair all day, definitely the body it just learns that motion and it gets used to that way of movement. That's not really what is. The body has about 200 bones. We're born with like 270 bones, and then with time, some of them combine. Everybody's stretching. I love it. And with time, we get it decreases down to like 206. And muscles, we have about 640 muscles. So they're not for show. Like definitely, they're meant to be moved. The body's meant to be exercised and really has so many capabilities of. So I started, I remember that when I started exercising, I wouldn't spend as much time on stretching. Just because people think that, well, you're not burning hundreds of calories stretching, then why do it? So, and it's not true that stretching is just as important as the work. And I learned that when I started doing ballet. It is so critical in order to actually renew the suppleness of the muscle in order to actually to get it ready for the next session. So I want to share my screen and just show a quick video, just because I love images and all that stuff more. And I think I have so many things open. There you go. It's fine. Can you guys see my screen?
Yep, we can see it.
Okay, perfect. I'm like, how do I know? Okay, so.
Let's do. In the body are connected by fascia, which surrounds the tissue. All the muscles in the body are connected by fascia, which surrounds the tissue, nerves, organs, and all other structures in the body. But fascia can become unhealthy by overuse, injury, or even by everyday repetitive movement. Foam rolling serves to keep fascia healthy by circulating fresh, oxygenated blood through it. The healthier the fascia, the better you move. Ultimately, foam rolling can help to diminish aches and pains, increase flexibility, increase range of motion, enhance performance, accelerate recovery. Whether you are a weekend warrior, an endurance athlete, or simply looking to alleviate the wear and tear of everyday living, you will benefit from foam rolling. How do I roll? Foam rolling does not need to be complicated or elaborate. In fact, it can be as easy as 1, 2, 3.
Okay, so there is this another one. Oh, come on. So that's one, that foam roll, that's the typical foam roll when you think about foam roll. Now, this is another method. That's how I got introduced to it. That's what I started doing when I started doing it.
all the muscles is very different.
We're at like 5 minutes. If we want to wrap it up just so we have time for the rest of our stuff too, but great presentation.
No, you're welcome. So how do I get out of share screen?
It should be up at the top. If you kind of mouse over the top of your screen, it'll give you a choice to say stop share. Any questions for Camilla?
Don't really have a question, but I just want to say that these are amazing. And I don't know if you can see me on your screen, but
No, I cannot. Oh my God. Oh, here it is. Stop
it should be at the top. Yeah.
I see.
So basically I used to use these or lacrosse balls for that same trigger point. And then I got, those are amazing. Then I got this thing, which is basically a foam roller, but will trigger, it's obviously using right along your spine here. So that's all I had to add.
Yeah, like I definitely I recommend it, and it's really like a massage session is so expensive, and this is something that definitely you want to do like on a daily basis. And like the video said that it's 1 minute, like focus on like one area, like 1 minute every day in the morning, in the afternoon. There's this one that is really good for like the hips and for the butt area, and there's also this one that I really like too. So if you want to start off easy, this is very, very good. And they're affordable, like that's something that definitely you want to implement, and they're easy to carry. And that's something that I've implemented, and it makes a huge impact. Like just do this one and just walk on it. And then just walk normally. And then after you start doing this, you're going to feel like you're walking on clouds because it really releases so much tension. But thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate it.
Great topic to touch on. As a side note, it is important to start reminding yourself to take breaks when you really start pounding away at working. There's something called like you can add into almost any browser, like a Pomodoro timer. You can just Google it or look it up. It's going to tell you like every 25 minutes of work to just take a quick break. And it's a great habit to get into. And that helps segue into the topic that the exercises we're going to be working on together or as a group, in groups, for the next 3 days. So we're going to pair you guys up in teams of 3. And I'm going to send out this link to exercises that we're going to work through for the next 3 days. I'm going to put it in Slack right now so you guys can look around, look at it. Cool. You guys can all kind of follow along and check out your Slack now. The point of these exercises, and we're going to like walk through a little bit of how to go through one, is to realize that these methods, these native array methods, which we're going to implement to take arrays or objects for the most part, some of them will only take arrays, are just written with things that you know already. They're written under the hood with for loops and passing functions in. Things that you know how to do. You actually will be able to implement these with your own code without just being able to say array.index of. You'll have a version of index of that you can implement, you can invoke. And it's a great experience to just see a little bit about how to write these functions. It'll give us a lot of practice with higher order functions to do so. The way it's going to work in your groups of 3, I just want to have a quick reminder of pairing tactics. There's probably going to be in your group like a range of experience and abilities with higher order functions. Some of you guys just started with them, yesterday and the day before. Others are like very familiar and very comfortable. So I want to impress on you guys 2 things with pairing. The first is don't become the driver navigator. It's super easy to do, is where you realize like you were the navigator, you were like talking your pair through something, but then pretty soon you're like, hold on, let me type it out. And then like, that's okay. Like sometimes you just want to like throw a quick example in and be like, actually, I mean this, like, or what do you think about this? But it can happen and just be easy. It happens to me all the time. I just get super excited and I start like talking and typing and like running through something. And then whoever I'm working with is like, whoa, like, hold on here. Yeah, how about we work together on this? So just be aware of that, the driver navigator syndrome. If the second thing is like, if you are in a pair and maybe you're the third pair and you have like two partners who are just like hammering through it and they do something that you don't understand, they implement something in a way that you think, gosh, I would not have done it that way. Speak up and ask them why they made the choice they did. And also say, okay, well, let me type it out and try it and see if I understand. So cement your understanding. If there's something that you're like, gosh, we covered this, but I'm not sure I totally grasp it, write down what you were working on and what it was that you didn't understand. And choice one would just be schedule an office hours appointment, just a 15-minute slot with Xan and I, so that we can maybe go through some examples and help talk you through what is going on in that instance. Or just keep that notepad next to you for something that after class or in outside study hours that you group up with your own group or other people from our class, that you make a point to revisit until you really thoroughly understand it. So definitely a chance here to practice on pairing dynamics. What's going to happen is you guys will break into groups today. We won't have a wrap up probably today or tomorrow. You'll work through the end of today. Tomorrow we'll meet in the morning. We'll cover any questions that have come up today. We'll let you guys work all day tomorrow, probably also with no wrap up. And then on Friday, we're only going to let you guys work half the day. And then we're going to come back as a group. And there's a note in that text file I posted into Slack. But each of your groups of 3, we're going to ask you to present on one of those functions. So one group might say, we're going to present on map. And their presentation will entail telling us like a high level overview. What is map? What does it do? And then they'll dive into how they implemented it. We decided to use a for loop. We decided to use for each. This parameter is a callback function. It's going to take these parameters. So be prepared for that. Friday, we're going to have little mini presentations on every group presenting on one of the functions. Just message Xan and I so we know which one you want to do. Maybe your first and second choice. We'll try to accommodate it. Okay, so quickly, what is the workflow for this? I'll share my screen. So this is your assignment for the next 3 days. We've tried to provide enough here that it will take you the 2.5 days basically to get through it. If you're putting in a lot of time outside class and you get all the way through it, ask Xan or I we'll find some more stuff to keep you busy for sure, but this should be enough for you guys to spend the next 3 days on. So what do you do? Okay, index of. First thing you're gonna do is go to MDN. Oops, not reduce. Just search up here. Read fairly carefully through this specification. So index of is supposed to be a method that returns the first index, right, at which a given element can be found in the array, or -1 if it is not present. So now we need to think like, how would we implement that? If I, back in Sublime, there's something crazy open. If I am imagining myself just having an array, what kind of function do I need to write? It's going to take an array and return to me. I'm going to pass in an array and like an index that I'm looking for. Like, what do I do in here? What kind of logic do I need to have in place so that the return value of this function is what this is expecting, right? Returns the first index at which a given element can be found. So if I'm looking, oops, I think I passed this in. It's not looking for an index, it's looking for an element. Somehow I need to basically look through my array and see if I find the element. If I do, then I need to return its index. And it's just the first element, right? If there's multiple matches, all I need to worry about is the first one I find it at.
So, did you want us to answer this?
This is just an example of like how you would go on index of. You guys are going to solve this with actual code. I'm just kind of pseudo-coding out and kind of talking about the process of like how you're going to tackle the assignment. That's where it'd be like, if I don't find it, right, return -1. MDN, like we've said before, has great examples. So you should be able to call your version of index of just like they do and get the same answer without using their native index of method. Any questions before we send you guys off?
Quick question. So we're not doing underscore for the next 3 days. We're working on these.
So this is actually just the version of underscore we're doing. Underscore implements these as well. They just use it with a different syntax. And the way you are actually going to implement it, sorry, that probably could have been clearer. Let me go back to sharing my screen and checking Sublime here. So the native methods are implemented such that they are properties on this prototype, this array prototype, right? Array.prototype index of. Yours are not going to be. So that's why when I wrote my function, the first element I pass in has to be the array that I want it to operate on. This is how underscore is implemented as well. They just created this object. You have to pass in the exact same things.
Which is better, the underscore or the ones we're doing now? Like, what do people more often use?
Underscore doesn't have all of the ones that we're going to implement. Some of them are native. Underscore has some that are other. The ones that we want to touch on now are basically the same. They have the same behavior in underscore. In fact, you could look up the underscore docs if that would give you more of an idea. The behavior is identical. People probably use the native methods more often because they're just there. But underscore goes above and beyond the native methods. So does Lodash. There's a bunch of libraries that are just like, they're like utility belts for JavaScript. So if we go to underscore, they have things like this filter, this function called reject. There is no native reject. There's a native filter, which passes passing values, but there's not going to be a native reject. But the two aren't exclusive. What we're doing, rewriting these functions, you could say like, hey, you're rewriting underscore functions. All we're rewriting is the behavior. So we're not going to use their implementation. We're going to realize, how are they making this work, right? How is it possible that they've created a function, reject, that takes an array and it takes a callback function and it returns 135? Before you guys jump into this, definitely be sure that you've gotten through this section of the advanced functions. I think it's called advanced functions. Yeah, of the curriculum, of just practicing with this data structure, this array of objects, that you know how to invoke each of these: first, last, filter, reject, unique, map, pluck, reduce. That's the first step, is knowing what happens when you actually run these functions. And then what we're going to do is basically rewrite first. Does that answer your question, Rose?
Thanks.
Okay, so we first should do the stuff on the web page you're showing us now, and then the task you posted on Slack.
Yep, so you guys are gonna have like 2.5 days to work on this. First, you should go through these, use this data structure or a similar one, and practice invoking each of these. So just get the result that they're asking for,
also rebuilding them or just invoking them and understand what they do?
Exactly. So here, we're just invoking them. We just want to pass in this array that they give you using this data set and getting the results back. Then the second part of it, this part you guys should be able to get through today. The part of it that is going to take longer, that we're going to spend more time on, is in re-implementing them, is writing those functions using the tools that you guys have. Would be basically like turning this pseudocode, JavaScript, into actual code, right? Because there is an underscore method index of, and there's also this native method index of. But I'm pretending that those don't exist, that I want to recreate that behavior. So I'm writing my own version here, like my own index of, my index of. I'm going to still be passing it the same things that underscore wants, or actually the native method needs as well to operate. But I'm gonna use code that I know how to write now. Look through my array and see if I can find a matching element. What kind of procedure would I use here? Who can unmute and tell me what I might use to look through my array?
A for loop.
Right. For var I equals 0, I less than array.length. So now I'm inside here. I have access to each element in turn. What did I say I wanted to do? I said I want to see if I found a matching element. So what would I do now that I'm inside my for loop?
Doing a statement.
Right. And Raymond, what do I want to check?
To check if RFI equals to the element.
Cool. And if it does, what do I do? Who can answer this part for me? If I found a match.
Returns this index. So just return I.
Cool. So I haven't solved all of index of. I haven't dealt with the fact that if I make it through this for loop and I've never found it, then I need to do something else. But this is the gist of what you guys will be working through. You're going to break down each of these functions. They're implemented natively. They're implemented in underscore. They're implemented in Lodash. So you can look at all those resources. I just suggest MDN. I think that they have like the best examples of how that they're implemented, but expand your net if you want. Look at the underscore docs and see what they do. The behavior is the same, and that's what you're concerned about, is implementing the behavior. Cool. Any other questions before we break it off?
No question, just the topic that we brushed on in the other Zoom channel. So I work for Apple and I get 15% off Macs for friends and family up to 10 times per year. So if anyone is looking to buy a Mac soon, just let me know so I can share the wealth.
Wow, awesome. That's really generous. Okay, your pairs should be up on the rp18 whiteboard. The assignment is in the Slack channel. So like I said, work through the first part of the curriculum where you're invoking the functions, and then jump into starting to write them from scratch. Don't hesitate to reach out to Zan and I, either just help desk style like you guys have been doing on Slack, or scheduling office hours if there's something that your group goes through that you feel like, man, they totally got this and I was lost. Try to stop them and, stop and make sure everybody's staying together. If you feel like you are an advanced pair, then make sure that your other group members check in with them and check their understanding as well. Okay, guys, this is going to be good. It's going to be challenging for sure, especially if you get down to reduce, filter, map. Would expect that to be a time where you're like, hey, someone who understands this better, talk me through this a little bit. I would say reduce would easily take a week of your life if it's the first time you've seen it. But stick with it. It's pretty rewarding to see what you're able to implement just with the tools you have right now. So that's it. That's the end of my pep talk. Zan, do you have anything to add before we break?
No, I don't think so. Good luck.
Awesome. Okay, guys, I'm going to end the Zoom.